Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with the trumpety trump, 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 trump.
The girls of the Bluebell Patrol were on a nature walk. As they marched along, they looked for birds and animals, and when they spotted a woodland creature, they called out its name and added it to their list.
A robin!
A squirrel.
An elephant! And it's coming this way!
Cried the Bluebells, and they scattered.
Oh, you can come out. It's only me, Nellie the elephant.
Oh, what's an elephant doing here? Elephants belong in a jungle.
My home is in the jungle, and that's where I'm going, except I've no place to stay tonight.
Please, miss, let Nellie stay with us.
Yes, miss, she won't be any trouble.
No.
I suppose we ought to help, but has anyone here ever kept an elephant?
To be honest, no. They had cats, dogs, goldfish, hamsters and tortoises, but an elephant, nope.
I'm not even sure we can feed an elephant. What do elephants have for breakfast?
Well, actually, I don't eat much first thing in the morning. Just a dozen currant buns and a gallon of lemonade.
The little girls went all quiet. Even Hungry Harriet didn't eat that much in a week. But Miss Nettle reassured them.
Oh, we'll find a way, but look, it's grown quite dark. We'd better pitch our tents. But do you know how to put up a tent, Nellie?
Oh, yes. Back at the circus, we elephants always pull the ropes to get the big top up. I'll be glad to help.
Soon, it was lights out, and everyone was fast asleep. Even Nellie's snoring didn't disturb them. But something else was about to. It was Hungry Harriet with a rucksack full of currant buns. She was going to enjoy a little feast before you-know-who had all those buns for breakfast. Then suddenly, a huge ghost-like figure loomed up in the darkness.
Help! It's a ghost!
It's a ghost!
What's this? Come, girls, what's this about a ghost? Honest, miss, I saw it. A ghost, all in white. Ever so scary.
Miss Nettle wasn't really very keen on meeting this ghost, but as the patrol leader, she knew she must. Oh, if only someone would come with her.
I'll come with you, Miss Nettle. I've never seen a real ghost. What fun!
And so Nellie and Miss Nettle went ghost hunting. It was cold and dark, and for the moment the moon hid behind a cloud. Miss Nettle and Nellie paused as a dark shape started up in front of them. A moment later, the ghostly shape was revealed in the bright moonlight. Back at the camp, everyone was too excited to go back to sleep, so Miss Nettle organised a midnight feast.
Honestly, these are the best currant buns I've ever tasted.
And then it really was time to go to bed. As Nellie drifted off to sleep, the sounds of the crickets and night owls faded away. And she heard another sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, trump, trump. Trump!
Nellie woke up suddenly, startled by strange noises.
What's that?
The thing, whatever it was that woke Nellie, was coming closer and closer. What could it be?
Well, I won't find out hiding here. Here goes. It's a monster.
It's an elephant.
It's definitely a monster.
It's definitely an elephant. And there it was, a huge, red, growling monster with two great staring eyes. Well, it looked like a monster with two great staring eyes. Actually, it was Farmer Styles' tractor, and those two staring eyes were headlamps. And the growling was nothing but its old noisy engine. Fancy that! An elephant in my wheat field! If she walks over my potato patch, do you know what I'll have? Mashed potatoes! When Nellie and Farmer Styles saw that each meant the other no harm, they smiled and were soon chatting away like old friends. Farmer Styles told Nellie all about life on the farm. The sheep that give us wool for woolly jumpers, and about the cows that give us milk, and the chickens that give us eggs. Then it was Nellie's turn to tell Farmer Styles all about her life in the circus, about the way she was dressed in funny costumes, rode a unicycle, and balanced all manner of objects on the end of her trunk.
That's why I ran away. Besides, I want to be with the elephant herd again, to roam free in the jungle of Mandalay. By the way, do you know where Mandalay is, Farmer Styles?
Sorry, Nellie, I don't. But there's a harbour nearby, and it's filled with huge ships that sail round the world. I'll take you there, after you've had lunch with Mrs. Styles and me.
That sounds like one of your lambs in trouble.
Help me, someone, please.
I can't drive my tractor into that mud, it'll sink. What can we do, Nellie?
This calls for an elephant rescue. Now what's wrong? You should be a happy little lamb.
Look at me. All covered in mud. My mum will be angry when she sees me like this.
Never mind, we'll soon fix that.
Nellie dipped her trunk into the duck pond, filled it with water, and washed the little lamb clean.
Thank you, Nellie.
Lunch is ready. Come and get it.
Wonderful, I'm famished.
Mrs. Styles must have known what elephants liked for lunch.
That was the most delicious meal I've had since I left the jungle. Thank you, Mrs. Styles.
And as Nellie thought of the jungle, she heard that special sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting on the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. It was time to go. We'll be on our way as soon as you like, Nellie. The tractor stopped beside the harbour wall. And remember, Nellie, any time you pass this way again, be sure to call in. You'll always be welcome. Nellie had never seen so many ships. Surely one of them would take her to Mandalay.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie stood on the harbour wall and read the names of the ships at the quayside.
Tugboat Tom, the North Sea Fisherman, the Jungle Queen. Ah, that's the ship for me. Excuse me, can I have one ticket for the Jungle Queen, please?
Steady as she goes, Nelson. We're almost out of harbour and heading for the open sea.
Aye, aye, Captain Jack.
Excuse me, Captain. This ship is going to Mandalay, isn't it?
Sorry, my dear, no. We're sailing to Oyster Bay. You might find a ship there for Mandalay. We don't usually carry animals on this ship. However, you look like a nice, reasonable elephant. Some animals are nothing but trouble, though. What are they, Nelson?
Trouble, Captain. Nothing but trouble.
Oh, I'm sure I won't be any trouble, Captain. Maybe I could even do something to help.
Well, yes. It's time the deck was scrubbed. Could you give Nelson a hand? Or a trunk?
And just in time, too. I'll have spam and chips and a strawberry milkshake. Right you are, Nelson. And what will you have, Nellie?
A glass of lemonade and 3 currant buns, please.
From the bridge, Captain Jack looked down, pleased with his bright, clean deck. He checked his map and compass to make sure they were on the right course and began to sing. Shackle me giblets, this is the life. 8 more hours and I'll be home with the wife. Shackle me giblets, full steam ahead. A few more hours and I'll be tucked up in bed. Then suddenly, the Jungle Queen sailed into a thick fog. Jabber me jibsail. Lucky there aren't any other ships nearby. I can hardly see 2 feet in front of me face. That's another ship, and she's very close. We'd better warn her with my fog on. There's something wrong with our hooter. Nobody'll hear that. Nelson and Nellie, report to the bridge immediately. Unless we warn that ship to keep clear, we're sure to crash. But our hooter's not working, and there's nothing else we can do.
Oh, yes, there is, Captain Jack. I'll try an elephant call.
You've done it, Nellie. She's turning away, and just in time, too. Listen, the captain's calling out to us.
What a splendid foghorn, Captain Jack. Next time we meet, you must tell me where I can get one just like it.
I wonder what he'd say if I told him, never mind a foghorn, get yourself an elephant.
Oh, look, the fog's clearing, and that must be Oyster Bay off the starboard bow.
Well, Nellie, you're a marvel and no mistake. How'd you like to join Nelson and me aboard the Jungle Queen? Nellie thought for a moment. The lemonade and carrot buns were delicious, and she'd made 2 very good friends, Captain Jack and Nelson the parrot. And then she heard that special sound. It came as always, floating on the breeze and drifting on the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. So, Nellie thanked the captain, said goodbye to Nelson, packed her trunk, and trundled off to the jungle.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
It was a cold but sunny morning. It had been snowing the night before. The world looked like a scene from a Christmas card. As Nellie turned the corner in the road, she saw Farmer Styles trying to break the ice on his duck pond. Oh, give us a hand, Nellie! But Nellie wasn't much help. Further down the road, Nellie came across Sergeant Boot, the local policeman, trying to get his car out of a ditch. Sorry about that, Nellie. Give us a hand, would you? But Nellie wasn't much help to him either.
Sorry about that, Sergeant Boot.
Help! Help! My front door's blocked and I can't get into my house.
Hold on, I'll see what I can do.
First, she tried to push the snow away. But that just made matters worse. Then she tried to suck it away in her trunk. And that didn't work either.
Oh dear, now my nose is frozen.
Poor Nellie. She wasn't much help to anyone today. As she came to the top of a hill, she saw some children tobogganing.
Oh, that looks fun. I wish I could join in.
Then Nellie heard someone crying.
What's the matter?
My toboggan won't go fast enough.
Oh dear. Well, why don't I give you a push? Ready?
Yeah?
Steady?
Yeah?
Go!
And the toboggan took off over the hill. The only trouble was, Nellie forgot to let go.
I think that's fast enough, don't you?
Yes,
You can let go now.
I know.
But instead of letting go, Nellie jumped on behind. And because of her weight, the toboggan went even faster. On and on they went, faster and faster, down another slope, across Farmer Styles' field, and headed straight for his duck pond.
Look out!
Way! Oh, thank you, Nellie. On went the toboggan, down the road towards Sergeant Boot's car in the ditch.
Look out!
Jumping constables. Thank you, Nellie. Further and faster they went, until finally the snowbound cottage loomed towards them.
Oh, look out!
Oh, thank you, Nellie. Here, Nellie, have another bun.
After tea, the little boy went home, and Nellie, who was very tired, settled herself down to sleep. And while she was dreaming, she heard that special sound. It came as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling. So, before anyone was awake in the morning, Nellie the elephant trundled off to the jungle once again.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
The bus pulled up at the seaside, and the driver turned to his only passenger. Far as we go, my dear. Next stop, the depot.
I thought this bus would take me home to Mandalay.
Mandalay? No, this is Pegleg Bay. Never mind. Why don't you have yourself a little holiday? You'll love it here.
But what is a holiday? I mean, what do you do on holiday?
Wow. You get your picture taken, go for donkey rides, and build sand castles. And...
Help, please help me. I'm Tim and my sister Tess was paddling on a lilo and got caught in the current and she's being swept out to sea.
I can see her, Nellie, out there.
Don't worry, Tim. I'll save her.
Nellie ran into the sea and waded out towards the frightened little girl. It was very deep.
Oh, it's very deep. I'll have to swim now. Hang on, Tess. I'm coming.
From the shore, the crowd of bathers watched in amazement. They'd never seen an elephant do the doggy paddle. Soon, Nellie gripped the lilo and towed the little girl back to safety. How the children cheered Nellie as she carried Tess back to the shore.
Oh, please, can I have your autograph?
When Nellie was rewarded with a great big kiss, she blushed.
Honestly, it was nothing special. Any elephant would have done the same thing. Well, that's enough excitement for one day.
But there was more to come. Not far away, something was cooking at Harry's hot dog bar. Harry's hot dog bar, that's what was cooking. Fire! Fire! Me stand's on fire! Save me poor hot dogs! Oh, quick! Someone do something!
I will. This calls for another elephant rescue.
She filled her trunk full of seawater. Salty seawater.
Oh, yuck. I hate salty seawater.
Nellie ran towards Harry and his burning hot dog stand. Harry didn't know which was more frightening, the sight of his stand on fire or the sight of Nellie hurtling towards him with a trunk full of seawater. Oh, thank you, Nellie, for saving me bacon. I mean me hot dogs, don't I? Oh, yeah. Have one free. How'd you like 'em?
Well done, please.
Oh, yeah, well done, please.
Yummy.
Nellie's brave deeds had not gone unnoticed. The mayor himself arrived, wearing a splendid robe and his chains of office. You have only been here a few short hours, Nellie, but in that time you have saved us from 2 disasters. So, on behalf of all the townspeople, I offer you this golden key and the freedom of the city. Well, the town, actually.
Please stay, Nellie.
Please don't go, Nellie.
Oh, don't go. Don't go.
I love you, Nellie.
Nellie thought for a moment, and while she was thinking, she heard a special sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away.
Oh, this is a lovely place, and I have made so many new friends. But I'm afraid I must go.
So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk, said a fond farewell to everyone on the beach, and trundled off to the jungle.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Oysters, fresh oysters.
Fresh fish, nice fresh fish, ladies.
Oysters, the fresh oysters. Get your nice, the fresh oysters here.
What a pretty place. I really ought to take a few snapshots to show my friends back in the jungle.
Now, had Nellie remembered to take a camera along?
Of course I have. An elephant never forgets.
Suddenly, there was a drop of rain. Then another and another. Then the rain came pouring down. Immediately, everyone raised an umbrella. All kinds of umbrellas. You never saw so many umbrellas. Nellie raised her umbrella too. She'd never used it before. When Nellie lived at the circus, she was always under the big tent when it rained. This was the first time she'd ever opened it.
This is no use. I need a much bigger umbrella. What you need is a raincoat. You go to Macintosh the tailors, they'll fix you up.
Nellie trotted down the high street past many shops, trying to dodge between the raindrops, which isn't easy when you're an elephant. Then she saw it. A shop with a large selection of raincoats in the window.
You'd better hide the peanuts, Mr. Tosh. It's an elephant.
I haven't come here for peanuts. I need a raincoat.
Oh, come right this way. A raincoat for the nice elephant, Mr. Tosh.
Right away, Mr. Mac. Nellie tried on one raincoat after another. Too small, too long, too short, too fussy, too tight.
Oh, it's no use, Mr. Tosh. We'll have to make a raincoat for Nellie, but where can we get enough cloth?
Leave it to me, Mr. Mac. I'll find something. Meanwhile, you measure Nellie. Got it, Mr. Mac. Where are you?
Round the back. Come and give me a hand.
What a lovely raincoat. Where did you get the material, Mr. Tosh?
Oh, it's been hanging around the front of the shop for some time.
It's a lovely fit. Oh, thank you very much.
Nellie paid for the raincoat and was soon standing outside in the rain.
It's funny, but I'm sure I've seen this material somewhere before.
It's the circus. And he's coming this way.
At the mention of the word circus, Nellie turned pale with fright.
Oh, no.
If the ringmaster saw her, she'd be forced to go back to work in the circus. Then she'd never get home to Mandalay. Where could she hide?
Hoisters! A fresh hoisters! Get your fresh hoisters here!
Oysters! Fresh oysters! Get your fresh oysters here!
And then, as the noise of the circus parade faded into the distance, Nellie heard another sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting on the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. It was time once again for Nellie to set out on the long road home.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
It was a bad night at the theatre. Everything, absolutely everything was going wrong. Mr. Tippett, the manager, introduced the first act.
Ladies and gentlemen, we proudly present a matey, a Max, the strongest man in the world. Before your very eyes, Max will lift a weight of 1,000 pounds, hold it high above his head, and recite 3 verses of a well-known poem.
The boy stood on the burning deck. His feet were hot as coals. He never took his shoes off because his socks were full of...
Get off! Get off! I want my money back. And now, attempting the most dangerous juggling act ever, I give you the great Geraldo. With one hand behind his back, he will hold up his trousers. And with the other, he will juggle 7 fresh, mind you, eggs.
Rubbish!
I still want my money back.
Mr. Tippett was very worried.
I'm very worried. This show is a disaster. The audience hates it. We must find a act they like, or I'll have to close the theatre and we'll all be out of work.
It's Nellie. You know, the elephant who escaped from the circus. Oh, please don't turn me in. If the ringmaster catches me, he'll take me back to the circus where I did all those tricks to make people laugh and clap their hands and cheer.
Tricks? Clap their hands and cheer? Oh, if only we could make those people out there clap and cheer. Anyway, you're welcome to stay in our theatre until the danger's past, Nellie.
I know. Would you like me to entertain your audience?
Oh, yes, please, Nellie. It's star time, folks! And Nellie, the elephant, has interrupted our worldwide tour just to be with us tonight!
The audience loved it. They cheered and cheered.
More, Nellie, that's the girl.
Worth every penny.
Backstage, everyone gathered around Nellie, thanked her for a wonderful performance and asked for her autograph. And then, surrounded by her new friends and thrilled by the evening's events, Nellie heard that familiar sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. Nellie knew it was time to go. She slipped out the stage door. Then, under the light of a full moon, she set out on the long road back to the jungle.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
It was a wild and stormy night. Nellie had been travelling for hours, and now she was looking for a place to sleep.
The people in the village said to try Faversham Lodge. But why did they say they wouldn't like to spend a night here?
PC Plover at your service, Nellie, and I'll tell you why. Ever since the owners left on holiday, there have been strange goings-on here. Ghostly figures, lights that go on and off. That's why folks round here say the lodge is haunted. Of course, I don't believe that myself.
I'm not afraid. Anyway, I'm too tired to go any further.
Well, if there's any trouble, Nellie, just give us a call and I'll come running.
Hello? Hello? Oh, the bedrooms must be up there. Oh dear, what's that? Goodness, I'm getting jumpy. It's only a mouse. There's no one else here but me, so there's nothing to be afraid of.
But she was wrong. Down in the cellar, Sam the removal man and Dopey Dan his nephew were stealing everything in sight. And just to make sure everyone stayed well clear of Faversham Lodge, Sam and Dan made ghostly sounds that scared everyone for miles around.
There's someone else in this house, Sam. Do you suppose it's a real ghost?
No, Dopey. Whoever it is, they're bound to go into the Great Hall. You hide in the moose head and give them the fright of their life.
Still looking for a place to sleep, Nellie wandered into an enormous room.
Leave Faversham Lodge, little elephant, or you'll never eat another peanut again.
I'm not leaving just because some old moosehead says so. Besides, I prefer currant buns.
Hang about. I never heard an elephant talk.
And I never heard a moose talk either. What a scaredy cat.
Oh, I must find a bed and go to sleep. There's an elephant in this house, Sam. Let's go now.
Just a few more goodies and we'll be off.
Oh, what a lovely bed. I can't wait to jump into it.
Ooh, I came as soon as I could, Nellie. Pon my soul. Come out, you two. You're under arrest. Congratulations, Nellie. Why don't you join the police force? You could be a sergeant in no time.
Sergeant Nellie the elephant.
For a moment, Nellie was lost in a daydream. Sergeant Nellie. In a fast police car, she could hear the siren, the screech of tyres rounding a corner. And then she heard another sound. It floated on the breeze and drifted in the wind. Yes, it was the head of the herd calling from far, far away. Being a police sergeant would be exciting, thought Nellie.
Oh, but being back in Mandalay with all my friends would be even better. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Out of the way! Clear the road! Mrs. Maple's cat is at it again!
Oh, poor Mrs. Maple.
What a Moggy. I've heard of cats having 9 lives. This one must have 100.
Why is everyone so excited about Mrs. Maple's cat?
Because this is no ordinary cat, Nellie. Not one of your happy chase a squirrel up a tree, chase a mouse around the kitchen cats. This one, he's called Tiger. He likes danger. And we have to rescue him every time he lands himself in a terrible predicament.
What's a predicament?
A predicament is a cat what has got itself lost, and the good old fire brigade has to look for it high and low, search every nook and cranny, and finally finds that cat trapped in a postbox.
Gosh, how did you solve that predicament?
We prized open the postbox, stuck a stamp on Tiger's head and sent him home.
5p to pay, missus.
And what's happening now?
Someone has got himself stuck in the deepest well in the village, that's what. A well so deep, we've had to send a diver down to bring him up. Here he comes now. Ooh, and that's that. I don't think Tiger will get into any more mischief today.
Well then, I'll call on Mr. Mac and Mr. Tosh. I promised to show them my photo album.
Oh, look at that, Mr. Tosh. It's Nellie with a bucket and spade at the seaside. You do take a lovely picture, Nellie.
Help! Help! Tiger is trapped high on a telephone wire. I've called the fire brigade, but they're miles away. Oh, if someone doesn't get up there soon and save him. Don't worry, Mrs. Maple. I'll save old Tiger.
Everyone hurried to the village's only telephone pole, and yes, there was Tiger, enjoying every minute of his latest adventure. As Nellie reached the top of the telephone pole, she remembered her circus days, the long climb to the roof of the big tent, stepping out onto the thin wire, balancing with her umbrella, the glare of the spotlights, and never looking down at the crowd below.
Hooray for Nellie!
Oh, thank you, Nellie. You're the bravest elephant in the whole world. Oh, honestly, Mrs. Maple, it was nothing special.
Well, I think it was something extra special. How'd you like to join the fire brigade, Nellie?
How exciting that would be.
She could almost hear the roar of the motor, the clang, clang of the fire bell. And then she heard another sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. And so, while all the villagers rushed home to see if their telephones were still working, Nellie slipped away behind the fire engine and followed the long road to the distant hills.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.